Don't start your next song until you have these tools. Songwriting for me is a process. It requires a certain state of mind. It requires certain inputs. And yes, lots and lots of tools that I can access quickly and at my fingertips. So let's talk about what those tools are. First, before I start any songwriting session, I like to set an intention. I like to get really specific about what I want for this session and for this song. So I ask for guidance, I ask for ideas, I ask for melodies, because I believe, much like Liz Gilbert's book Big Magic, creative projects are kind of out in the ether, and sometimes you're lucky enough to just kind of grab them, or they come to you as almost an assignment that you can take to the finish line. So in order to set myself up for that mindset, I start with a Palo Santo stick. I light one of these sticks. You can see this one I have already used. You can use sage, you can use any ritual that might help you, but to me this just gets me right in the right frame of mind to start the project. Next, similarly, candles. I love ambiance, I love setting the vibe. This particular candle is Sandalwood Rose. It smells amazing. So good. But this just like sets a tone. Much like you can see I use some lighting in my space here. I just like to set the vibe before I get started. So candles really help me do that. Next, a very basic college-ruled notebook. I used to be someone who would buy really fancy notebooks to put my lyrics in. And it looked cool, but what I found was that I didn't want to be messy within that book. And songwriting is messy. It's very unlikely that you're just going to get all of the words perfect and all of the chord changes perfect on the first go. It's an iterative process. You have to keep trying things and making adjustments, and lyrics especially are something that you want to revise and edit. So I was finding that those fancy notebooks didn't allow me to be as messy as I needed to be for songwriting. So now I go with the most simple, least expensive notebooks that I can find. And this allows me to just really be free with how I'm sort of expressing myself in that moment. So get yourself very simple notebooks like this one. Next, you have the very organic method of a notebook, but I also am a big fan of the voice memos. I have 181 voice memos in my phone at this moment. There will be more likely tomorrow. Voice memos are so handy because you can put song ideas and melody ideas in your phone as you think of them. You might not be at your desk where you write. You might not have an instrument by your side when you're at the doctor's office, but you think of a melody while you've got your voice memos for that. And similarly, any notes app that you have on your phone, I highly recommend using the notes apps. I keep a log of just phrases, song titles, phrases, concepts in my notes app as well. So I always have that kind of stuff handy, the voice memo and the notes handy in my phone. Recommend you do the same. This is one of my favorite purchases and one of the least expensive purchases I've made. It's become integral to my process, and that is a desktop dry erase board. This one is by a company called Quartet. It has a nice little pocket drawer in there to store some extra items. I keep picks and small items in there. But this I use all the time when writing songs, and particularly as I'm producing songs, because as I get ideas, I can just quickly jot them down on the dry erase board and then come back to it at a later point. So this has been one of my favorite tools that I've introduced to my personal workflow, and definitely recommend you checking that out. Next is the Chorus app. Now, Chorus, like the chorus in your song, is a desktop-only app. It is $6.99 a month, and it's sort of like AI for songwriting. So you can put your lyric ideas, maybe a small phrase, into this tool, and it will generate for you other phrases that might work with your song. It will generate rhymes, it will generate near rhymes and perfect rhymes. So it's a handy songwriting tool. It does cost $6.99 a month, So if that's, you know, if a subscription is make or break, totally get that. There are a million other tools that you can use and free ones out on the internet. But Chorus is a very cool AI-like tool. Last but not least, if you are writing a song, you probably want an instrument. Now, you can be a songwriter and not play an instrument, but it certainly helps if you do. And so for me, I play a lot of instruments poorly. I'm a Jill of all trades and a master of none, essentially. And that started when I was a kid. I learned drums at 8, I learned guitar at 9, and I've continued to add instruments on, and my proficiency with those instruments is such that I can play well enough to add them to a song and make them sound okay, but I am not a master at anything. So, all that said, I like to have all of those instruments around me because to me that's where I get inspiration, that's where I can start tracking and laying down ideas immediately. So you'll see here I have a full 88 key digital keyboard. This is just the Casio Privia. I think I had like the store, the like display model. I think I got it for like $400 like 10 years ago. I have a MicroKorg in front of me that I use both as my MIDI controller, but also I have the outs coming in so I can actually get the sound directly from the MicroKorg as well. I'll cut to this, but I have a wall of guitars and basses and ukuleles off to the side here. And then a little bit further out in my room I have percussive elements. I have claves, I have shakers, I also have harmonicas. So my space is just filled with instrumentation that will help me create things on the spot, help me try new ideas, and really get to like what the root and vibe of that song is. So those are my favorite tools to use when I am songwriting. Hopefully this has helped. I will put a list of those tools down in the notes here. Comment, let me know what kind of tools you use. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And that's it.